it was one time favoring them, but that's why I say there's need for dialogue and balance to make sure everybody understands where we are coming from, where we are going.
And just some statistics. This is from 2015. Of about 163 million illiterate youth across the globe, nearly 63% are female.
Yeah.
And that was just in 2015. And we see as well that women are also more vulnerable to things like human trafficking, like I discussed, childhood marriages and different things like that that also affects them. And so I definitely believe there should be a balance, but I definitely as well, I do still see a need for it because you don't hear about boys necessarily getting married at 9 years old and, you know, producing a baby at 11. And so I definitely do still see a need.
They are not only female, they are also vulnerable, so they have two factors working against them. So that's why we preach and emphasize.
Any more comments, questions?
And if you're a girl, vulnerable, most of it's worse. So,
Okay. Any more? No. Let me take it from where Ugochukwu has, or where his question is, where he has directed his question. And the reason for the continuous preaching is because we want to achieve equity. If you look at the SDGs and you look at the indicators for measuring if we have attained education, go back and look at those slides. I think I gave you those slides through Patty. Please look at them and you would begin to realize that we expect your data to be disaggregated by sex, so that we are wearing the lenses of equity. And what is equity? Equity is fair play. We do not want to educate the girls at the expense of the boys, at the expense of their fathers, at the expense of making their uncles who take the decisions illiterate. And so when you collect your data and you disaggregate as a development worker, you begin to see if the impact of your project is making the male sex in the community, is giving a drawback to them. And you also need to step in and make the necessary corrections. That's number one. Number two is that the girl child education issue came up because there were lots of cultural practices that put the girl child down. If the girl is going to school, the father would hardly think of collecting cows on her, because while she is in school is an investment for him. He's investing in her, and he's investing in his old age. These are things that do not come up in the textbooks, but we know that in the human existence, those who have girls get cared for than those who have just all boys. The interesting thing is that amongst the all boys, there is one who would have the sympathy to care for the parents. That's what researchers have shown. So you may have all boys, but there's one that carries the heart of a female, saying that I can't leave my parents to suffer. If not, boys generally will tell you, I'm taking care of my family. I have my immediate family to take care of. Parents will tell you, if a girl has 3 shillings, she would spend 1 shilling on her father, 1 shilling on the mother. She takes 5 shillings out of the remaining 1 shilling, and she keeps it aside to say, in case my dad would send for me and say there's a need, I can take this 5 shillings and take care of my dad. Or take care of my dad and my mom as a whole. Or maybe something to do with the dad not being ashamed in the community for saying, can you make a contribution to this? And he does not have it. You send for a boy, he has 3 shillings, and you tell him there's a dear need at home. You know, community people are asking for this. He will tell you, truly dad, I have my 3 shillings. But have I taken care of my wife? I have not paid my children's school fees. I have not done this, I have not done that. And you hardly can blame him for it. So the girl child education thing came up not only because we want to sing a song to promote women, but because by nature, the man and the woman, they are different. And if we're doing things to suppress the women, we need to come out of that stage and get to the stage where we are promoting equity. The SDGs are supposed to promote equity for people. If you look at the strategy or what the SDGs stand for, which was where we started when we were talking about it, it's about people, it's about the environment, it's about the planet. So we don't want to leave anybody behind. Remember, we are on a journey that takes everyone along. Now, I can understand your fear that you don't want us to become feminists. You need to get your definition of a feminist and ask yourself, those who talk about women not going to the workplace, you won't believe it, they are mostly Christians. They are Christian researchers who say at the beginning, did God ask the woman to go and do a work? And where did God ask the man to go and do a work? You look at Genesis 3. God told what's his name? Adam, out of your sweat you will eat. And he was supposed to take care of Eve, but did Eve get less of a pronouncement? No. Childbearing was supposed to be with labor for her. Maybe before the fall, if Eve had had a child, it would have seemed like that child came out the way a leaf drops from a tree, effortlessly, with no stress whatsoever. So truly, like they said, we need the pay packet today, but can we do it within the confines of understanding? And that's what we are hoping to achieve. Yes, we have talked about the girl child education like forever, and we are wondering why are we not getting the results? Because it takes time for change to catch on. She has given the example of the South. We know examples in places in West Africa, Nigeria for instance. It was the banks who started giving women more time off when they had children, saying these women work so hard. How do they achieve 6 months breastfeeding if they're at home? If they're in the office in the first 6 months. Men in Kenya now, in some organizations, get paternity leave. In Europe, it is almost compulsory in places like Sweden. You even find men who revolve their lives or the lives of their children around the community where they live. So that if my son, let's take Emmanuel for example, let's take he's my son, his wife finishes the maternity leave, he takes a paternity leave. By that time, the child has almost reached 6 months, 8 months, isn't it? I, as the father, I have encouraged Emmanuel to buy his house close to mine so that I can take time off to be able to help them within the next 3 months to ensure that that child does not suffer care. People have tried to come up in very creative ways of how to ensure that we are getting this to work. But it's not the same thing in every community. We just heard that in the US, probably all these things we are saying about maternity leave, paternity leave has not caught on. It will take time, but we are hoping that we'll be there. If Jesus does not come before 2030, we hope that if we do a review, it's going to be a lot more interesting. Like we can say, yes, we have gone more than 3/4 way of the journey. We have attained 90% in this. Okay? So, Ugochukwu, you can be at peace. We have not yet become feminists. I would not like it if somebody refers to me as a feminist, because my definition of a feminist is just so different from what I think we want to achieve here. But I would like to thank Prisca and Kiana for starting this off. I like their points. The girl child education is about investing in girls. It's not about putting the other group down. After all, it's the uncle, the father, the brother who would pay. Ugochukwu, if you have like 10 sisters, no, 10 will be too many. You have first 3 sisters who have not yet gone through university education. I'm sure you are there pulling their ears every year when you go home to say, what are you still doing? Have you gone through the process of retaking your exams? I don't want you seated here. And I'm sure you emphasize to them, don't get married and then you are being pushed here and there because you cannot earn enough money to even take care of yourself. And so you will do everything to ensure that your sisters would get educated. So it's about an investment in human beings, an investment in girls. At the same time, it's the right of every child to be educated.